Welcome to SSI Technologies. SSI will provide a safe and healthy work environment. To assist in fulfilling our commitment to safety, this video will provide you with the information and procedures needed to make your visit safe. Safety is everyone's responsibility, and your help is needed. While working at SSI, you and your employees are expected to know and follow all of the applicable safety and health requirements. SSI has two divisions, our Controls Technologies division and Sintered Specialties. Each division has similar requirements, however this video will discuss the slight differences between the two. Parking. Seatbelts are required when in a moving vehicle. There is no riding in the back of truck beds allowed, and the speed limit must always be followed. Check-in. Contractors must first check in and receive a name badge from the front desk when arriving at SSI Technologies. At Controls, eye protection, ESD smocks, and footwear will be provided at this time. At Sintered, eye and hearing protection will be provided. Personal protective equipment. Hair must be secured and tied back if past the shoulders, and no loose jewelry is allowed when on the production floor. When entering the production floor of any of our facilities, ANSI-approved safety glasses are required for protection from flying particles at all times. If you have prescription eye protection that meets the standards and has permanent side shields, you may wear them. If not, SSI will provide eyewear for the duration of your visit. Many of the tools, processes, and equipment that may cause hazards to your eyes can also cause hazards to your feet. At Controls, when on the production floor, open-toed or open-heeled shoes are not permitted. Due to the requirements of our products, an ESD smock and heel straps will also be required and provided for the duration of your visit. At Sintered, when entering the production floor, steel-toe shoes are required. Shoes with open toes or heels do not provide adequate protection when on the production floor and are not permitted at our facilities. When at the Sintered division, you may encounter areas with loud noises. Hearing protection is required on the production floor at Sintered and is available at any entrance. Other task-specific PPE may apply for both divisions. Food and tobacco policy. Smoking is permitted only in the designated smoking areas or in personal cars. At our Controls Technologies division, there is no food or beverage allowed anywhere on the production floor. Due to the increase in temperature and working conditions at Sintered, water and soda containers with lids or screw caps are the only items allowed on the production floor, and must not be stored in refrigerators meant for chemicals or other production materials. Emergencies. In the event of a fire, everyone must exit the building, then proceed to the evacuation point signs. Contractors are responsible for participating in a head count. At Controls, the evacuation points are located in the parking lot and the back side of the building. The Sintered evacuation point is located in the grass area between our corporate offices and Sintered. If a medical emergency occurs, press the page button on the phone and say First Responder to the location of the incident. If the injury is serious, dial 911 and state the address listed on the phone above the number keys. For severe weather, such as a tornado, a warning will be played over the intercom. When instructed, report to a severe weather shelter area and participate in the head count. At Controls, the severe weather shelters include any restrooms and the main conference room. At Sintered, the severe weather shelters include Training Room A and B, the Quality Lab, and the women's restroom for overflow. Incident reporting. Incidents must be reported no later than the end of the workday. This includes injuries, near misses, and spills. Any condition that could result in death or serious injury must be avoided at all costs. This includes exposure to falls, working under suspended loads, and not using the clearance permit for confined space procedures properly. Failure to follow these rules will result in your removal from the facility. If an imminent danger exists, work must be halted immediately and the hazard corrected before work continues. The first aid room is available in the event of an incident and is equipped with first aid supplies. At Controls, the first aid room is located just past the Quality Lab and Training Room. At Sintered, the first aid room is located right next to the production floor restroom. Fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers are located throughout the facility for use. Fire extinguishers should have 36 inches of clearance at all times. At Controls, fire extinguishers can be located by signage as well as the red tape displayed above each extinguisher. At Sintered, signs are also posted above each fire extinguisher. Hazardous waste. Contractors that are bringing OSHA-defined hazardous chemicals on site must coordinate this action with environmental health and safety prior to bringing the chemical on site. A safety data sheet is required to be given to environmental health and safety for record retention. All hazardous chemicals must be labeled along with the name of the contractor controlling the chemical. Any chemical brought in by a contractor needs to leave with the contractor. Eyewash stations are available throughout the facility for emergencies. All safety data sheets are available online through MSDS Online. All containers must be labeled, and secondary containers must have an in-house label. Confined spaces. Confined space is defined by OSHA as a space that is large enough and so configured that a contractor or employee can enter and perform assigned work, has limited or restricted means of entry or exit, and is not designed for continuous occupancy. Permits are required for certain confined spaces. These permits should be posted at the entry point and provide a checklist to ensure all hazards are eliminated or properly guarded against before entry. All entrants must be listed on the permit before entering. Some examples of confined spaces may include, but are not limited to, press pits, vacuum furnaces, and sewer laterals. Lift truck use. Only approved, authorized, and trained contractors can operate SSI-powered industrial lift trucks. All other contractors will be required to provide their own powered industrial lift trucks, which must comply with OSHA requirements. Drivers are required to comply with OSHA regulations at all times, including wearing seatbelts, conducting a documented inspection of the forklift before each use during the shift, and inspections of any slings or lifting devices being used. Powered industrial truck lifts regularly move throughout the aisles. Please stay alert by looking in front and behind you before stepping into an aisle or approaching a blind intersection. Do not assume the drivers see you. You must visually acknowledge the driver before walking in front of or around powered industrial trucks. If you are driving a powered industrial truck, the same responsibilities apply to be aware of other drivers, contractors, and SSI employees. When using aerial or scissor lifts, contractors must be tied off when in the basket, and all anchor points need to be approved for at least 5,000 pounds. When no anchor point or exposed edge is available, then one of the following is required. Use of a manual hijacker with cage, an electric hijacker with cage, scaffolding built with handrails, or barrier protection must be installed. Contractor materials. Hand tools, ladders, and any other equipment needed to complete the job will be the responsibility of the contractor to bring with them and must be in good condition. Only a select group of contractors will be authorized to operate SSI-owned powered industrial lift trucks or ladders. All materials brought on site should be gathered and hauled off-site by contractor or properly disposed of by SSI. Lockout, tagout. Lockout, tagout procedures are posted at each machine and should be followed step by step, no exceptions. This must be completed before contractors perform any servicing or maintenance. When performing live electrical, it may be required to complete work permits. Arc flash PPE should be worn as necessary. Contractors must inspect all of their PPE for defects and damage, then report to the maintenance leader or EHS manager. Contractors must ensure only authorized employees are allowed within boundaries during work, and permits are turned in when work is completed. All electrical cords must be connected via a ground fault circuit interrupter before any equipment can be used. SSI Technologies does not guarantee power circuits to be ground fault protected. Hot work. Hot work includes any work that produces open flames, hot slag, or sparks. A permit is required when performing any of this work unless it is in a designated area, such as a maintenance shop or detached outside location. The project manager must authorize a hot work permit prior to initiating work. The process steps shall include permit approval, preparation of the work area, hot work activity, and closeout. Respiratory protection. It is required to report any health condition that could hinder the effective use of a respirator. Contractors must perform a user seal check prior to each respirator use and clean reusable respirators after every use. Contractors must also provide medical certification to wear a respirator. Compressed gas. In the event of a natural gas leak, immediately report the incident to maintenance or a supervisor. All cylinders being transported or stored must have safety caps in place, be upright, and secured against movement or falling. Valves will be kept closed if regulators are attached, except when in use. Any damaged cylinders should be reported immediately to the project coordinator. Smoking is strictly prohibited near compressed gas towers. Furnaces. Under no circumstance shall a fan be pointed at the furnaces. Failure to comply may result in fire. Spill response. For small spills less than 1 quart, contain the spill with absorbent materials. Dispose of oily contaminated pads, absorbent materials, and gloves in the used absorbent bags, located in the yellow metal drums. For materials other than oil, please dispose of the used absorbents in the general trash. For a large oil spill, contact maintenance so we can dike the spill to prevent entry to floor drains, use absorbents to clean up the spill, and complete an environmental incident report. The City of Janesville wastewater utility should be notified if oil enters a sanitary sewer drain, and the Wisconsin DNR if oil enters a storm drain. For an acid spill, contact maintenance to utilize the absorbents or neutralization as appropriate. Then collect the contaminated absorbent in the acid spill kit pail. Seal and label contents. This will also require an environmental incident report. Ladder safety. All ladders must meet OSHA requirements for workloads and ladder construction. Contractors are responsible for safe, clean, and properly working ladders. Ladders should be placed on a level surface and tied or held back by another worker. The base should be away from the wall 1/4 of the ladder's height. When climbing ladders, both hands should be free. 100% fall protection is required when over 4 feet off the ladder base. If within 6 feet of the edge when on a roof, 100% fall protection is required. Scaffolds shall be built of sound material in accordance with OSHA standards and shall be supported on sound footing. Scaffolds must be fully braced, the platform fully planked, and must be equipped with standard guardrails. Personal fall protection must be used where required by OSHA guidelines. Cranes. Only trained personnel can operate cranes. If using a crane, all OSHA regulations for operating the crane must be followed. Critical lifts plans must be developed by qualified personnel and submitted by and reviewed by SSI Technologies. All rigging equipment requires a damage inspection before each use. Tag lines should be used unless they create a safety hazard. Before any digging or excavations is begun, an excavation and trenching work permit must be completed. The site must be marked with flashing orange lights or orange barricade fencing. OSHA requires that if you're excavating 4 feet or deeper, the space may be considered a confined space, and appropriate protection from cave-ins will be required. Warning tape is not acceptable as a physical barricade. Contractors shall provide barricades to protect exposed wall or floor openings, trenches, pits, and anything else that would be considered a fall hazard. All barricades must be tagged with the list of hazards, the name of the company, and a name and phone number for contact information. Walkways. Work areas must be clean and orderly. Walkways and stairs should be free of obstructions. Marked walkways should have nothing protruding into the aisleways. If a contractor is identified as non-compliant to any safety rules and regulation, SSI Technologies reserves the right to terminate work and remove the contractor from the site. If your work may change the environment, prior written notice and approval is required before any work may take place. Thank you for viewing and for participating in a safe working environment.